I just thought I should make another video, but I'm making a video because I've been getting a lot of questions, and obviously I will just ignore the lot of threats that I've got. But I will make a video to just answer a few questions. The ones that are threatening me, I'm not afraid to say my mind and to speak my piece. I'm an adult and I'm allowed to make my own decisions based on my own choices and whatever information I might have, as much as you have. So this thing of trying to threaten people who do not want to join your views or whatever is just another reason why I don't believe in whatever you're trying to sell us as eMaSwati as being a better alternative to what we have. And as a lot of you know, that I have chosen to stick with my king and my country, with the system that we have, and I continue to do so. A lot of people ask me, what do I see in my king that I love? I believe my king is a very progressive king. I will speak about him as a father. He has demonstrated what it means to be a father. He's loving, he's doting to his kids, he shows love, he plays, he nurtures them, he supports them. And that has been a great example, because our fathers, how they've changed, even how they are being supportive and being responsible. A lot of men in Swaziland are now more responsible and are now present and more engaged in their children's livelihoods. They are not providers, which probably most men felt like, as long as umntwana adlile, anendlu, ayile esikolweni. Some will even send their kids to school without uniform, without food. Even people that would even be staying in boarding school and stuff, they used to just think that if you've paid the school fees, you've bought the uniform, and that should sustain them for the whole year. But with our Majesty, he has been a great father who wants the best for his kids. And as such, this demonstration which has been seen has made a lot of people, as a parent, you want the best for your child. You want them to look their best. You want them to have the best education, the best of everything in life. And a lot of us spend way more than we can even imagine for our children. However, then it just, surprises me why then all of a sudden people have an issue with him being the father that now a lot of fathers have become. Which, when you look back and you're being honest to yourself, think about your own father, those that are probably adults, probably even older than me, and think about your grandfathers, how they treated you, how you grew up, and look at how things are now. Even based on the previous king, look at how the prince and princesses were to what they are now, how these current children are. It does not matter whether you're male or female. Gender is not a limitation no more when it comes to our prince and princesses, which we know very well with our previous king was a different case, but I don't want to compare, even though a lot of people like comparing, but I would hate to compare them because they are two incredible great men. But anyway, with my King Mswati III, I have seen that even pregnancy for his children is not a failure, is not a limitation that will then result to them, because they've made this mistake of being pregnant and they're at home, they're not yet even married or anything like that, then they have to be sent off to be married away. I like that. I like that because he's instilled that independency into his children, that they can choose who they want to be and who they can become. And I love the fact that he encourages them to be self-empowered, to be self-sufficient, and allowing them to work and generate their own income, which is a great role model for every kid Eswatini. It's unfortunately that this has been received, negatively. Yes, maybe there are teething problems there and there, and there are issues that need to be dealt with, but I find it very, Very disturbing. Very disturbing that this has become an issue with the Maswati, who are the very same people that accuses the king for spoiling and spending too much on his children. And yet when the kids wants to go out there and make their own living, then it becomes a problem. Anyway, I will move on because I don't want to make a long video. I don't want to dwell too much on that issue. He's a great husband. He gives attention and love to each one of his wives and make sure that they are not neglected. He's not a neglectful husband. He makes sure that they are valued and they're well taken of. You know, I haven't seen Mage who lacks in anything. You know, I haven't seen Mage who doesn't have a shoe. You know, and he makes sure that he provides equally. You know, when he buys cars, he buys for all of them. You know, we don't know who's his favorite. Him and his heart knows that. But as far as we know, and everyone in each household believes that that mother that they are close to is the king's favorite. And I might believe the one that I'm close to is the king's favorite. But everyone who knows somebody, he will tell you, oh, I think his favorite is Mage so and so. But truly speaking, we don't know his favorite, because he tries to make sure that he treats his women with respect and dignity, and he looks after them. And when he is there with that mother at that time, he is 100% there and is fully attentive. And I love that. I love that because he has demonstrated love for his women, you know, for his wife. I wouldn't even call them women, his wives. And as such, us as women, other wives out there who are married to other people, we have, you know, honestly, enjoyed the same benefits from our husbands. You know, women have been empowered to have a voice in their homes. You know, now we have been empowered to be listened to, because we know how Amakoskad have been empowered to pursue their dreams, to pursue their careers. We know Bomama who are educated, who have done incredibly, you know, who have done well academically, have graduated. We know Bomage who have even designed. We grew up watching designs, painting, cookery, all sorts. And that's women empowerment that has trickled down from the head of state all the way to our homes and households. Women with our king have been able to run their own businesses. And it's a shame. For me, I find that it was a shame. That, for instance, for Mage Mbigiza, she trained, and Mage Matsebula, they studied law, you know. But once Mage Mbigiza registered so that she can practice Eswatini, the public cried foul before she was even given the chance to practice, so that we see this biasness when it came to her cases or things like that. No, she wasn't even given that chance. And she was stifled. And it's the same issue, Nyalo, that we are seeing with the kids. You know, we are seeing the same issue coming up now, that, you know what, even Emazina, Nyane, we're trying to stifle them instead of Kusisibakwetele in the right way. And where things are going wrong, channel them. You know, the Bible tells us that God makes our crooked paths straight. It means that in our walk with Christ, there are things or there are places where and we see and with his gentle hand he will bring us in his right standing, in his righteous path that he has created for us. And as such, I believe can be implemented even in our country, especially in the country where we believe we are the chosen generation by our God. He chose this nation for his glory. You know, from how he showed himself through the vision or the prophecy of King Somhlolo. And since then, we didn't just accept missionaries through colonization that they have now come. No, it was through his vision. He saw these white people before even they set foot in Africa. Before our forefathers knew that there was a white person, you know, in this world. He foresaw it. And he even saw this Bible that we have to live by. which should be our manual. But we are failing to utilize that on our daily lives, and in how we judge each other, and how we are so critical of one another. But anyway, I'm not going to start preaching. I just wanted to make a small video to show what I like. I like that he, people, he's providing and everything. And I love the visionary that the king has. He's a great leader. He's a visionary leader. I remember how he made, I will speak about the things that I know that are truthful, that are factual. I remember how, he built a clinic for us. When I was a young kid, we had one little small place with one bench on the veranda. And when it was raining, it was a nightmare going to a clinic. But when it was sunny, it was okay, because you would bring whatever mat you can, or a cloth, umqula, and lay under the tree until your turn comes, and then you go in and you will be attended to, by the nurses. But when Lobamba Clinic was rebuilt, this new clinic was built, it was amazing. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, such a big clinic. How is it going? And within 1 week, that clinic was buzzing with people from all over. Not even Lobamba, the surrounding areas. People would travel to get help, and they will no longer have to wait under a tree or sit out in the rain, in the cold. They had nice, suitable waiting area. And I remember that clinic came into my rescue. I had an allergy reaction as a teenager. I was stung by a bee, and as I was walking in reception area, I didn't even reach that desk to pay for my ticket or anything. I collapsed. I don't remember anything. I remember just walking in that door, and I collapsed. And they came to my rescue. I was taken, and I woke up hours later in a clean room in that clinic. Years ago, that wouldn't have been the case. They would have to try and find an ambulance, transport me to Mbabane Hospital, which before I know the system, because I was once taken to Mbabane Clinic from Lobamba Primary School when I had issues, when I started having issues with my ankle, years ago. But this time, when I collapsed walking in, there was a small room with a comfortable hospital bed, privacy, and I was treated there on the spot. I didn't need to be transported elsewhere. I got to be treated there. I remember they even tried to introduce the visitation of a doctor, but I don't know what happened, because then again, I grew up and I moved away. But I know that was something that was great for that environment, and it was his vision. Even that was not widely received by everyone else. People were like, that clinic was fully functional. Why do we need such a big structure? A waste of money, could have been used for this and that. But when it started being used, no one came back and said, oh, we were wrong. Same thing, that motorway. Lobamba, I grew out there every week. Every week there was a household that was crying, because either a parent, a child, but mostly it was children that were being hit by cars. And a lot of people lost their lives on that Mbabane Manzini old road that went via Lobamba by that marketplace. Lots of people lost their lives. Cars will overturn there. A lot of things, the houses, a vehicles hit a livestock. A lot of people have been crippled on that road. A lot of people lost their lives. When that motorway that we call now the highway, that one, Mbabane Manzini Highway, was being proposed and built, we had our own Magaukabus at that time who opposed it. Where are these cars going to come from that would use that motorway, blah, blah, blah. But today, aren't we using it without even thinking? We are. And a lot of lives were saved because of that motorway. And a lot of other things. These centers, even the one that is Esifogofonya, which is being used for COVID. When these health centers were built out there, waste of money, all these buildings, what are they for? When COVID came, we were even better than South Africa. You should have seen the BBC News about the report about the South Africa health system during COVID. They couldn't cope. But as we had structures in place, I'm not saying that we were better. Even the first world country here, the NHS was struggling and is still struggling now. There's another wave, it's struggling. They are struggling. Nurses who work in A&E and in ICU units are struggling. There's shortage of staff, facilities. There's shortage. They even if you Google it, you will see that a lot of hospitals have even declared themselves not to be suitable. There are not enough beds. So it's not an issue of us being excellent, but didn't these things come into place? We could have been worse off if we didn't have any of those structures at all. Yes, it's spending money, and the money is being spent for good for Emazwati. And I hate it because our own greediness as individuals who have been placed in position of influence, of power, we all think about our own selfish needs, including our MPs that we vote for. As it is, none of our MPs ever came back, even after the open of Parliament, and they talked about this youth empowerment package of 44 million or whatever, 40-something million that has come to light. Even the same 3 MPs. If you ask them today, what have they done in their local constituencies to empower young people in order to access this money and do businesses and empower themselves? They won't tell you, but they are busy wanting to change big things. Yes, they can't even change their own households, their own little communities where they come from. And there they think they can change the whole country for better. If they can't even change their own lives for better, their own communities for better, how dare then they think they would change my life for better, my children's lives for better, my community's life for better, my family's life for better? That's just ridiculous. And just because we are getting carried away, we will always be like that. Somebody who sings nicely, they can have the band. It tickles to the ear. It tickles. Even myself, I find myself going with the rhythm when I'm listening to these speeches because they know how to present themselves. And let us not forget, Bazalwane, if you want to sell something, you have to be presentable and make sure that you know which audience you're targeting, because we've seen the lies that are there at the moment. The lies, because people are articulate, they are able to write and they can tickle, they say whatever they want. Even worse is people believing lies, like pure lies, like the king can even touch a dead person, dead human parts. Our king, our tradition and our culture, when it comes to something that is dead, that is of a human being, our king never comes close to that. Never. I, for one, I know that. It's part of my culture. Such that if you are in mourning, you don't go anywhere near the king. And then there are people writing that the king is needing people's heads, people's blood, people's parts. That's just ridiculous. It's absurd. It's absurd. And anyone, then they keep on sending me these things of such, nonsense. And I'm thinking, are these people actually real Swazis? Do they actually know their culture? Do they actually know their traditions? Or just because somebody is able to articulate and sell a story, it's like Inganewan. I don't know, people know Inganewan. Inganewan, it does not make it true. It's just a story. And if you like that story, don't try and sell it to me as truth. I know truth. And if I don't have facts, I go and research. Just like somebody was talking about, the king cannot appoint from the Senate. I went and I read the Constitution. He can. At the end of the day, the information is there. Let us try and utilize it. Download the Constitution of Eswatini into your phone and start reading it for yourself. And stop wanting to be lectured about it. Yet you can read for yourself. Obviously, I feel sorry for people who can't. But most of Emazwati, I would say 90% of Emazwati can read. And it's available in both Siswati and English, as these are our official languages, Eswatini. So anyone can read that. And if you're not clear about something, I think there are people who are more knowledgeable who can explain things to you. But let us stop believing lies. People are even believing stupid stories, like somebody who on their own can throw 14 people into a burning furnace, for goodness sake. Please, just use your common sense, or maybe common sense is no longer there. And then you start threatening people who try to use their common sense and ask questions, and then you want to vilify us and you threaten us. I have a life. Somebody was threatening to expose my sexual life. Yes, I have a sexual life, and I'm not afraid of it. I have tried to live a moral life. I've never sold anything with my body. Yes, I've had failed relationships, and I'm still trying. I'm not perfect, but I'm not ashamed of who I am. What I'm ashamed of, mina lokungihlazayo, because ngineba abantu abangahlazeki, mina lokungihlazayo kuhlazisa livangeli. I will hate ukuhlaza uNkulunkulu if ngidibita ngembanakhe. I will never do that, especially knowingly. That's why I always seek his guidance with my life. Kuhlaza liqiniso. I stand for truth. Ngiyahlazeka vele mangabe ngikhuluma emanga. Because oh my God, such that ngisho bamfa bamngababuda. Ngeke ngishaye ukuthi ubuye late, but ngeva ukuthi ucala emanga. My goodness, because I'm the person who believes that truth is very important and truth is vital for everyone. Anyway, I will leave it there for today, and I hope I've answered your questions, and if you've got any more, just let me know and I will try to answer them. And those that find it easier for them to download their frustration and started cursing and whatever, you know what? I'm not going to be moved by that. I will just continue on my course, because we are all in our own races. I've got a purpose for my life. God has a purpose for my life. And we're not, just continue doing what you're doing, and I will continue doing me. Thank you.